Good afternoon, everyone. Today is December the 13th, 2021. I'm happy to call to order our regular monthly board meeting of the McDowell County Board of Commissioners. And we'll start off, as always, with our prayer and our pledge. And so tonight we're going to have Commissioner Allison lead us in our pledge and Commissioner Walker lead us in our prayer.
Okay, everyone, don't mind to stand, please. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your many blessings. Dear Lord, we thank you, dear God, for just the freedoms we have today that we enjoy as Americans, dear Lord. And I just pray as we meet tonight, dear Lord, I just pray for all the people in Kentucky that went through those tornadoes and lost loved ones. I just pray you give comfort there and dear Lord, meet their needs as they go and rebuild their lives again. And I just pray you give us wisdom tonight, and may we do what is always pleasing and honoring in your sight as a Board of Commissioners. And we just thank you for your many blessings. And we thank you this Christmas season for your Son, Jesus, who died on that cross later, dear Lord, was born, had to be born to die, dear Lord. We just thank you for your birth, and we thank you for the cross, and we thank you for the empty tomb, dear Lord. We just thank you for all your blessings. We love you today. In your name we pray, amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've all had a chance to read over our minutes. What's the pleasure of the board on the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Also, I need I'm sure you've all looked at the agenda. What's the pleasure of the board on the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda, or first on the agenda tonight, we're happy to have our distinguished mayor here for the city, and Mr. Steve Little, and he's bringing good tidings of great joy to us tonight, I think, so we're going to give him the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is a delight for me to be with you this evening. It always is, no matter whether we're meeting here or wherever, but it's refreshing, it's exciting, it's very satisfying to know how the relationship is so excellent with the county, the city. We accomplish more for the good of our people because we all know that we're going in the same direction. We're going for the same goal. And I appreciate so much of what you do, what all of you do, and your ability to care more about what our goals are than any personal things. It's not about us, it's about our people that we serve. But enough of that. I have come tonight to bring you what I hope will be a little bit of a joyful thing. We have so many wonderful parts of nature here in McDowell County that it's hard to just look out a window and not see something that could captivate your attention for an hour, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Well, what I have had the tremendous pleasure to do over the last several months is I have worked on the creation of a simple calendar for next year. And if I may approach, I would like to give each of you a copy of a calendar. It's in this envelope, and you can open it if you would like to. I'll just tell you, every one of these wildflowers that you see on the different months were growing in McDowell County.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I took these pictures, and every month has the name of the flower, the common name, the scientific name, the official state wildflower of North Carolina is included. That's the Carolina lily. The thistle, I think that's in the month of March, was growing on the side of the road, and really in the little ditch going up to the Mount Ida picnic area. That I took that this summer. I was going up there for something else. And I just saw it, and I just had to pull a little 3.5 foot stalk, size of your thumb, and that beautiful, beautiful flower right there. So I hope you enjoy these, and with my compliments and my best wishes for all that you do, and my appreciation for all that you do. So,
Well, I'd just like to follow up with a warm thank you from the board for this. Mary Lou, we appreciate that, and to piggyback along with the things you said earlier, it's just a pleasure to work with you guys. You know, we all have the same common goal, and that is the good of the people of the city of Marion and McDowell County, and it's just an honor to be able to work with people that have the same goal we do. And there is one request we have. We would like you to come up here and let us get a picture made with you with this.
well, what a treat. That would be a treat indeed.
Just your picture. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
You've got the paparazzi here too.
Need to close up.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Just a minute.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got under appointments, we're going to go down to item B before we go any further, and in order to allow some of these guys that want to get home to supper, get out of here if they like. This is the recognition of our employees, and we're going to recognize all the dedicated years of service tonight that a lot of our wonderful employees have put in. There's 20 and 25-year people here tonight, and as far as the board, I want to say tonight, we appreciate all the hard work and dedication that you guys have given our county and our community over the years. We certainly don't look forward to the day that you retire. We've got getting nervous about Cheryl, and so we certainly don't want to lose our clerk or anyone else, but we appreciate the good service you guys have given our county and our community. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the county manager.
Yes, sir. Just a quick background. This has typically been a recognition you have done at your Christmas banquet every year, which of course has been canceled for COVID for the last 2 years. And actually last year you asked that maybe we start this tradition, and we had the fortunate opportunity not to do it last year because of COVID. So some of this list is folks that hit 20 and 25 years last year, and some this year, and so they're just presented as one list. So as manager, we're really proud for people that stay with us for a long time. And so what a suggestion, maybe if you came forward as a group, they're all going to come forward, and maybe a photo at the end, the 20 and then the 25 year. So I'll leave the humor
Yeah,
alone.
let us stand out front, and as they come up, if they're willing to shake our hand, we'll shake their hands and let them line up in front of us.
Wave or fist bump or something. But as I call your name, if you'll come up to the front and just make room, there's about 6 or 7 folks in the 20-year category. Starting with the 20 years, we have Deanna McKinney at the Sheriff's Office. She's here with us.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for your service.
Congratulations, and
Just stay up here with us.
We have Kathy Solomon, also from the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Kathy.
and also Heath Helms from the Sheriff's Office.
Get up here and take our hand.
Moving out of the Sheriff's Office, we have Karen Morgan from the Finance Department.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Karen.
Jerry, thanks so much.
That's all right.
Mr. Opportunity.
We have a couple of folks that couldn't be here tonight. I will list their names for the record. Mitch Davenport from Facility Maintenance, Nancy Bruner from Emergency Communications, and Vicki Stiles from DSS. And there also is one more important person with 20 years service, and that is your clerk to the board, Cheryl Mitchell.
Thank you so much.
She's the only person among them that isn't ever allowed to retire.
Exactly.
All right, if we can squeeze in just a little bit.
Yes, get in front of us.
Yeah, y'all get in front right
Get in
here.
front of us.
Yeah, y'all hide. You're good right there. Congratulations, brother. It's good retiring now.
I get right.
We got time to prep you right now. That's all right. That's all right.
Wait.
Hold on.
Let me try to get a picture too. Ready? Hold on.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, 3.
We have 4 in the rarefied air of 25 years or more. Starting again with the Sheriff's Office, Robert Green.
Thank you so much. Mr. Green, appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Also from the Sheriff's Office, David Marler.
Thanks so much, David. Appreciate you, brother. Really appreciate you, brother.
Cowboy hat just a little bit.
Appreciate you, buddy.
The next 2 folks, I believe, started on the same day. First is Terry DePoyster with Public Services.
We were 2 weeks apart.
2 weeks, well, close.
2 weeks.
Pleased to meet you.
They appreciate you, brother. You excellent job. Appreciate what you did.
Everybody's looking really, nobody's looking at us.
And last but certainly not least, your Elections Director, Kim Welburn.
Two months.
2 months.
We don't entertain talking like that. Excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. I don't know how you've done it for that long.
Congratulations.
Okay, now, you guys come in front of us here.
No, go ahead.
Good on around there. Y'all need to be.
Don't worry about blocking us out.
Short. Get Ricky to help.
We gotta be at work by 7.
Maybe he's doing the movie.
Thanks, sir. Praise you.
We'll get you one.
Thank you.
We're gonna get some.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay. Going back to the item A on the agenda, we need to have selection of chair and vice chair for the Board of Commissioners. Madam Clerk, we'll turn this over to you for right now.
Okay, thank you. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158A-39, the Board of Commissioners at their first regular meeting in December shall choose one of its members as chairman for the following year. At this time, I will accept nominations.
Madam Clerk, I make a motion Tony Brown be chairman.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Are there any other nominations?
Move motions closed.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Okay. At this time, I'll take nominations for vice chairman.
Make a motion to nominate David Walker as vice chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Okay. Chairman Brown.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to make one comment before I go any further. It's a pleasure to me to work with the board that we have. We've got some great guys and gals serving on this board, and I appreciate the hard work and dedication they do and the support that they give me. And I'd just like to say I appreciate the confidence that you guys have in me. So thank you very much. Next on the agenda is item C, the COVID-19 update, and we have Deputy Director Adrienne Jones with us tonight, and so we welcome her to the podium.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thanks again for the opportunity to provide an update. I'm sure they get more and more exciting every time we come up here. But just a couple things to recap from, I guess, since the last time we've met, but also just over the weekend. So this morning, there were 32 new cases reported over the weekend, which I'm sure you saw if you've seen the press release that was sent out today. Our 7-day rolling average is 11.5 cases per day. We continue to see that increase steadily as we did last year at Thanksgiving as well, and we'll talk about that. Our 14-day positivity rate did hit 5% today on the NCDHHS website, and so we anticipated that, and that was reported today. Active cases today in McDowell County is 105. New cases do continue to trend up, but again, last year at this time at Thanksgiving, we continued to see that happen all the way through Christmas with people gathering indoors as things are cold. Hospitalization rates is encouraging. It does continue to maintain at sort of a flat level, so that was encouraging for us. We know that on average about 6% of COVID patients across the county require hospitalization, so as the trends increase, hospitalizations would tend to increase. And then of course our age 50 and up, that population has continued to have a slight increase, which gives us a little bit of pause, and we watch that because that's where our hospitalization trends tend to come from. So we watch those numbers in that 50 and up category. We anticipate hospitalizations lag about 2 weeks behind. So we're at that peak from Thanksgiving right now. So these numbers that I'm telling you are basically from the Thanksgiving. So right around that 14 to 17 days after Thanksgiving is when we start seeing those numbers, and then 2 weeks after that is when we can anticipate that we would see the hospitalizations from these numbers. So that's kind of how we continue to watch that. And then on deaths, which I think is good news, we haven't reported a death since November 23rd. Obviously understanding that sometimes there's backlog with physicians on signing death certificates, but that was also very encouraging for us. Long-term care facilities, no active outbreaks right now. We do continue to host coordination calls with them and closely coordinate with ourselves, emergency services, but also Shannon Jones from DSS has been a huge asset in being that conduit to speak with the long-term care facilities on a regular basis. They don't have any immediate needs. We did host on-site boosters, vaccine clinics for all of the long-term care facilities. Those were all completed, which I think will be a huge thing to protect them through the winter and continue to be able to have visitation and those types of things for family. And that that is all I have on COVID. If you have any questions before I transition to any vaccine updates.
Yeah, I've got one, and
Sure.
some of the others might have some. Adrienne, what do you know, or what do we know at this point about the South African?
Sure. So Omicron, it's a fun one to say. So not a lot locally, obviously. We are watching trends. So there are 8 new lab studies that have come out over the weekend that I'm trying to sift through and understand. A couple of pertinent things that I found for me. The UK released a study, the Health Security Agency, comparing cases of Delta and Omicron that they had from November 27th to December 6th. What they were looking at is what's the vaccine viability there? So is it protecting us from the new variant? They were studying Pfizer, so a 2-dose Pfizer series proved to be 30 to 40% effective against the new variant, Omicron. The booster, so if they had a Pfizer booster, they were up to 70 to 80% protected. So the booster seems to be the key, but I think also what's key and what that tells us is that these vaccines can work, and everything I'm reading shows that we're not going to have a new vaccine for this variant. This will just probably need a booster, especially for those high-risk populations. Another thing in looking in South Africa is hospitalizations remain low. I think that could tell us 2 things. One thing is that immunity, whether it's natural or vaccinated immunity, can protect us against severe disease. Or it could be that Omicron just produces a less severe disease for anyone who's infected. What's needed to determine that is a more general population to study. So how's it going to affect unvaccinated folks? How's it going to affect elderly patients who maybe were vaccinated? There's also some great data on people who have natural infection plus vaccine that are even have a more robust immune response.
One other follow-up question on that while we're on it. I did hear, and it was from a doctor, that some other really serious viruses are teaming up with this or piggybacking on this, such as AIDS. Can you elaborate on that?
I haven't seen that with regard specifically to Omicron. I have seen, so just in talking about sickness in general for the season, and I may be veering off topic here, but so for us, our COVID numbers for transports have went down, but we're seeing more flu right now, so we're entering into flu season. And we're seeing even some of our employees, their family members, kids are coming home with flu. That kind of coincides with what Mark was saying with the school update, is they are seeing a little more strep and flu and those types of things kind of circulating right now. But as far as other viruses in conjunction with that, I haven't seen anything on that, but I'll be happy to look into it.
Thank you.
Adrienne, what's the vaccination rate now from McDowell County? First dose and second dose.
Didn't bring it, but what I had written here on trends is that we continue to trend at a 0.1% increase each week. So it's just slow and steady. It hasn't even moved up 1% in the last 30 days from our last update. That first dose rate is just very, very slow. What we're seeing is a lot of industries have reached out trying to do some vaccine incentives. And so we're trying to accommodate them with some on-site vaccine events if we're able to. Our big focus right now is boosters because it's in demand, and also based on what we're reading with Omicron is if you are vaccinated, a booster is certainly recommended. As you saw, the CDC opened that up for 18 and above for everyone, but then they went even further last week for 16 and above and have recommended boosters for those that are eligible. And that's 6 months post your second dose. Yeah, so the first doses continue to be just this steady, and I ran the numbers for the last 30 days of what we've administered. So 1,455 vaccines in the last 30 days, and this is just the health department. So what we're administering in our drive-through clinics. 117 of those are first doses, so you can see the percentage of what we're given for first doses. 202 of those were second doses, and the remaining were boosters. So over 1,000 boosters in the last month. It's basically been our main. That drive-through clinic continues to be very busy with the elderly population utilizing that service.
So the vaccines and the boosters should take care of the protection we need on this at this time.
I think it's showing it's going to give us a really good amount. 70 to 80% is very good, and that's for those B-cell neutralizing antibodies. That's your kind of upfront alarm system for your body, so to speak, the one that's going to neutralize it before you can get that breakthrough infection. There's 2 different things, not to get into the weeds, but T cells are those longer kind of acting antibodies. Those are the ones that you might have in 20 or 30 years that would recognize the virus if you did have a breakthrough infection. So that's why you can also see if I'm vaccinated and I have a breakthrough infection, my disease may not be as severe because my body's prepared. It's got what it needs to go ahead and start fighting. It doesn't have to make it. It's already there. If that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to add one more comment. I want to say thanks to Adrienne and William and all the staff over there for their partnership with the health department. And, you know, I went over and got the booster shot, and the line was out to the road, and they said, come on in, it'll be 15 minutes max. And I think I got out there in about 10 minutes or less. And that, you've done an outstanding job, and we appreciate it. We surely do.
I appreciate that. It's definitely a community effort. We're still utilizing volunteers. We have volunteers from Grace Community Church. Dr. Atkinson comes out and volunteers with us. The health department staff, our staff, so everyone is out there. Their attitudes are great. It's a great customer service experience, and that's what we're after. And a lot of people utilize that because they don't want to have to go indoors somewhere. So that's why we continue to keep that open to the public.
We've got the greatest frontline workers in America right here in McDowell County with our EMS, our sheriff's department, our police department, our fire departments, our rescue units. You know, we are very fortunate, and I appreciate everyone that has a part of it.
I agree with that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, next on the agenda, item D, is our Parks and Recreation update, and we have our Executive Director of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Chad Marsh, here with us tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's always a pleasure to be with the board. Appreciate you giving an opportunity to come tonight and kind of provide you with a snapshot of where my directorate is at and where we've come in the last 6 months. I gave each one of the members a quick hitter here, and I'll try to be brief, Mr. Chairman. Some of these may seem mundane, but I think what I wanted to paint a picture tonight for you is that your Parks and Recreation Department is alive and well, and we are active in our community, and we are seeking ways in which we can collaborate and get involved that go out of the typical bounds of basketballs and footballs. We are interested in trying to improve the lives of McDowell County citizens in ways that are far beyond gymnasiums and football and baseball fields. So from our facilities and trails aspects there, you know, what we really try to take a look at is, you know, from the aesthetic standpoint, when somebody comes to the Parks and Recreation facility, we want them to see that it's alive and that there's things going on there and be proud of what it is that's going on. In the 6 months since I've been there, we've had 4 instances of vandalism. And it's my belief that the reason that there's vandalism, you're not going to curb it all, but the reason there's so much vandalism is because people haven't taken a vested interest or haven't had the opportunity to take a vested interest in what it is that we're doing. As soon as people find ownership in something, they tend to take better care of it. That's my point. And so we've gone out and we've painted our gymnasium at the rec center, our offices at the rec. We've installed new acoustic paneling, which you were there for. Appreciate that. Installed new security lighting at the rec center. We're sanded and resurfaced our gymnasium floors. And this week we're going to install the first ever 10-ton HVAC system inside that gymnasium. It's long overdue. I met with officials and continue to work with our county manager and their design teams to discuss the future of a recreation renovation and upgrade. I want to say publicly, I appreciate everything that this board has done on behalf of the citizens of McDowell County to improve recreation facilities. That $4.5 million shot in the arm that's been granted in our budget is going to be an incredible element to that Parks and Recreation Center. And I just want to say I appreciate everything that you've done there, and I'm absolutely ecstatic about having an opportunity to work with that. Really look forward to seeing what's going to happen there. We've met with NCWRC officials on multiple occasions to continue with construction of the shooting range. I want to also appreciate Mr. DePoyster's efforts there in making sure that goes down with everyone there. Painted dugouts, concession stands, and restrooms and scoring buildings at Old Fort. And, you know, I think we all recall it wasn't a year or so ago, the ugly comments, the ugly truth of the comments that were brought forward about what was going on at Old Fort. And again, I think it was just an element of us not being out there maybe and just showing enough of that presence. And I can tell you that working there with Alderman Lytle, making sure that we have access to the things that we have there. The community has come out. I've actually gone to a community forum, spoke with the community forum in Old Fort, and let them know that it's not just McDowell County Parks and Recreation, they're inside the city limits of Marion. We care about every ball field in the county, every child in the county, and we're working hard to improve all of those. Painted dugouts, concession stands, and restrooms at Glenwood. We replaced the leaking galvanized water line at Woodlawn Roadside Park. We've gone out and we've had a number of citizens who called in and asked about dog parks and what are we doing with those? And I said, so we're going to get everybody's voice is going to be heard. But in the meantime, we've gone out and provided dog waste stations for people to go out, enjoy the ball fields that are not being played on. Just ask that you pick up your dog's waste when you leave. We received requests from a private citizen to raise funds to improve an existing area. In other words, resurface and line the park at Old Fort for pickleball. And so what we've told them is if that's something that the community's interested in, go for it. We'll do what we can later on to make sure that we earmark that, and we'll go out there and fix that as time will allow. We assume controls of the trails for Spalding Road, Point Lookout, and Greenleaf from our facilities. Again, Mr. DePoyster and his crew did an outstanding job. While there was some manpower shortfalls at Parks and Recreation for a couple of years, Terry and his group stepped up to take care of that, and we really appreciate his efforts there. But it was time that my folks came in and now took over the reins, and we're happy to do so. We've made marked improvements at each one of those trails just by being present, by doing things like blowing leaves and picking up trash and going out and talking to citizens who are out there and walking on those trails and finding out what do they think, what do they feel, what can we do to help improve their experience. And then we rebuilt a bridge at the Spalding Road Trail and met United States Forest Service personnel to discuss future trails and different ways to collaborate. Our programs, our youth and adult sports programs and other programs are doing well. Since taking the job, we've hired 5 new positions at Parks and Recreation, and I want to say that it is absolutely because of our finance department and working with her and our county manager that we're able to get through some of these things, because Allison Bell helps me kind of make sure that I'm on the right track, that I'm making sure that I'm not only being a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars, but I'm also thinking about what's next step. So I appreciate Allison helping me and taking care of that. And the county manager very rarely says no. Most of the time he says, Chad, are you sure? Or let's talk about this. And so I appreciate him helping me out as we've gone through this, because those 5 hires that we have made have absolutely been integral to any success that I've enjoyed. We go work with our area directors on multiple occasions. The results have been improved communications and open dialogue, and find out ways to improve our youth sports. Collaboration and community involvement. We started what I call Stroller Size, which is a free program taught by a certified trainer and offered to McDowell County citizens, again at no cost. It encourages people with small or wheelchair-bound children to come out and exercise and socialize. We met with the principals and PE teachers at all 8 of our public elementary schools here in the county and donated a bag of assorted balls to ensure that children had the opportunity to learn and participate in various sports. We participated in National Night Out on Main Street, where we set up a static display and gave away balloons in an effort to improve relations and promote youth activities. We worked with the North Carolina Department of Insurance, McDowell County Sheriff's Office, Marion Police Department to host a hot car demonstration at the Rec Center pool this summer, and it served to improve to promote the dangers of leaving children, elderly, and pets unattended in vehicles during the summer months. We collaborated with the local food advisory council, McDowell Food Hub, to conduct a holiday food drive, and we provided a food bin for food drop-off there in the Recreation Center. Our Recreation Center Gymnasium has also served recently as the coordination point and staging area for our Project Christmas, which was absolutely incredible. And, I know many of our hearts are heavy this time of year thinking about loved ones, but I'd like to mention Rochelle Bailey's name tonight. She was absolutely integral to that program, and what Carla Biggerstaff Patrick has done to continue in that. It's just been wonderful for the children of our community. Our youth football league ended in November. I'm proud to say, number one, that our football program ended in the black. I'll say that again. The football program ended in the black. So I don't know when that's ever happened, but publicly I'm happy to promote it and say that it's because we operate transparently, we operate above board, and we make sure that we do things that we feel are going to be in best interest of those individuals who are coming out and participating in youth activities. We had over 192 total persons participate in that program. That included 93 tackle football players and 49 flag football players, 34 cheerleaders, which I don't want to forget, and a host of coaches and other volunteers. We worked with Burke County to create a league, which is the first ever in the history of the county, and by all accounts it was a success. We look forward to working with them, potentially even branching out next year. We've contacted Rutherford County, who has asked if they could possibly get involved, and so we're looking to maybe expand our reach and include some other folks. Of course, I'll bring it to the county manager and board at the proper time. Fall baseball league this year ended in November. We had almost 200 people sign up for that. Had 227 total persons participate. Those children got to participate in coach pitch, machine pitch, and kid pitch leagues. This was absolutely a challenge to run that while we were doing our youth football league, but we were committed to making sure that we could walk and chew gum at the same time. Fall basketball league will begin this Saturday. We had over 724 children sign up for this program to play basketball alone. Also had 40 other children come up for cheerleading. That brings over 764 young boys and girls out of their houses for the first time in almost 2 years during the pandemic to participate in a youth activity. And I'm absolutely thrilled with our efforts. 851 total personnel come out. That includes our coaches, our cheer coaches, and the cheer team personnel. And I'm proud to announce that we are opening back up a youth league. We had over 110 individuals sign up for a 12-team league, including McDowell County Sheriff's Office, which I appreciate the support them with. Marion PD will be one of our 12 teams, and those games will be played at the Rec Center Gymnasium. They'll start in January. So I'm very proud to make that report to the members of the board tonight. Mr. Chairman, if it pleases the board, sir, I'd like to introduce Mr. Kevin Price. Kevin is the chairman of the McDowell County Little League. And I wanted Mr. Price to be here if you could, just so when I made my proposal tonight that you saw that what I'm requesting is an absolute unified front between McDowell County Little League and McDowell County Parks and Recreation. With that said, Mr. Chairman, here's my presentation for you, sir. I'm pleased to report that I've met with Little League organizations in McDowell County. We've agreed in principle to merge youth baseball and softball in McDowell County. The current systems used for youth baseball and softball in McDowell County have 308 students or student athletes who signed up to play last season in Parks and Recreation. These children were separated by age groups into teams and played as a community team. And these teams played on fields throughout McDowell County, specifically Maple Leaf and Lindley Park in Old Fort. McDowell County Little League is a 501c3 made up of private citizens who are proactive in youth sports. This organization has operated independently from McDowell County Parks and Recreation on and off since the early 1980s. Now recently have held their seasons at the Big League Camp near Lake James. Little League organization is made up of approximately 337 student athletes from the county, and the ages range from 5 to 16 years old and include both young boys and girls. Little League's board of directors are made up of 4 members, and they serve as this governing body. The program's assets include helmets, catching equipment, bats and balls, and the storage facilities located out at Little League. There were 23 teams in McDowell County Little League last season, which included 21 baseball and 2 softball teams. In this league, there are no community teams. For example, there's no Old Fort, Marion, or West Marion teams, but rather individual teams that are made under a draft system and dictated by the number of children who play or who sign up. I've met with the Little League organization, and we have agreed in principle to combine the 2 existing leagues and adopt the Little League system of play. Games will be played throughout the county and be separated by age groups. The plan is for older age groups, 11 to 16 years of age, to play games at Big League Camp, while the 4 to 10-year-old divisions will play at Maple Leaf, Lindley Field in Old Fort, and Hemphill Park in Glenwood. The new league will be comprised of 9 divisions or age groups, 4 to 5-year-olds or first-year players who are 6, both boys and girls, 6 to 8-year-old machine pitch, that's for baseball and softball. The first year group, the 4 to 5-year-olds, it's all one, it's all baseball. This is the first year that young ladies have an opportunity to play is at the 6 to 8-year-old division, softball. 9 to 10-year-old player pitch, baseball and softball. 11 to 12-year-old player pitch, baseball and softball. 13 to 16-year-old player pitch, baseball and softball. Currently, the projections from McDowell County are to have more than 650 participants in Little League. Prior to being placed on the team, each player will participate in an evaluation session with their peers and will be given a rating based on their skill level. And this will be used to generate a player roster that will be given to the age division vice presidents, as your volunteers from the community, who will disseminate the rosters to prospective coaches, who will all be vetted and cleared. And these coaches will gather with their respective vice presidents and conduct a live draft, which will serve to ensure teams are more evenly weighed and provide for more consistent and fair competition. The guidelines and rules that will be used to play will come directly from the Little League organization and will be adopted each year by their board. McDowell County Parks and Recreation is poised to assume control of youth baseball and softball in McDowell County. But in order to provide an environment that is safe, professional, consistent, and equitable. Through those tenets, we will create a sustainable program that serves to foster personal and athletic growth for the children of McDowell County. This proposed merger will also include a member of McDowell County Parks and Recreation having a seat on their board and acting as a member of the McDowell County Little League Board. Little League will continue to operate as a 501c3 and serve as a facilitator for fundraisers, sign-ups, identification of potential coaches, volunteers, parking attendants, and concession stand workers from McDowell County youth baseball and softball games, with the exception of the games that are held at Little League, Big League camp. Big League will operate independently from Parks and Recreation as it pertains to the games held at their facility, but have agreed to not charge Parks and Recreation any fees to host the games at their facility. The money collected from the aforementioned milestones, again except for Big League, will be surrendered to McDowell County Parks and Recreation Department for deposit into the department's youth baseball and softball program accounts. It is my recommendation that this merger occur. Once placed into effect, it will serve to provide a steadying effect on McDowell County youth baseball and softball, as there will be a clearly defined set of rules that dictate play, a single governing organization that will ensure facility stability, financial stability, and operate transparently. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions.
One thing, and I'm sure other commissioners have something, Mr. Marsh, I appreciate the presentation that you give. I'd like to say on behalf of this board, and I think I speak for everyone, we are a child-loving board, and our hearts are certainly in the mode for loving the children of this county and this community. And in saying that, from what I understand in your presentation here, the route that you're talking about going would extend the boundaries to allow possibly even more children to be involved.
Yes, sir.
So based on that, I like it.
Yes, sir.
I like it. So we'll hear from Chris.
And this also would enable, if we have a team that could advance, could even possibly advance to, say, a Little League World Series, right?
Yes, sir.
And wouldn't it be great for kids to be able to, if we do have a team that does that, to be televised and you know, they would eat that. But I'll say, from my personal take on this, I'm 100% for it. I think that it's a great move by Little League and the county to not compete, but work together. And Kevin, I appreciate you and your board and what y'all have done. And Chad, I sit over here listening to you. I mean, we've got all this stuff you read it off to us. And one thing about Chad Marsh, I mean, as a board member, you don't have to guess where he's coming from. You know what he's got, and he just, that's the military in you, I believe.
Yes, sir.
You just list it right out there, and I like that. Very transparent. You mentioned that about 3 or 4 times in what you got here, and I appreciate that. And the only thing I had to say is I'm 100% for it. We just need to get a document or whatever, a memorandum of understanding. That way it covers both parties to where the responsibilities are specifically spelled out and for protection of you guys and you guys too. But I'm good to go. Green light, go.
Has a decision been made on how much it would be cost-wise for different age groups to play for the individual families?
Yes, sir. So, Kevin, I want to let you correct me if I'm wrong, but the intent was the numbers that we had charged were not going to change. So,
No.
Kevin, you want to talk about what you did last year?
Yeah, it'll still be $50 per player, which is pretty consistent with what we've done county and Little League over the past 2 seasons. And with that, our players always get a full uniform. So they get a hat, a jersey, a pair of pants, and belts. We quit doing socks last season because socks were $8 a piece, and times the 300-some players we're having, and most kids wear long pants now. So we're like, let's put that money somewhere else. So we put it toward all our uniforms and stuff like that. So they get a complete uniform for that $50. Most of the time, if it wasn't for our sponsors, that $50 doesn't even include the cost of a uniform. So with that, they get a uniform, they get a 12-game season, and they get playoffs after the end of that 12-game season. What people can tell you about it, they've been involved. I know Ricky's helped us out quite a bit. His son's played with us for 3 seasons now. So it's really grown. I mean, when I took over 4 years ago, we were down to 48 kids, 4 teams. Last year we had 327 kids, and we had 1 girls softball team that played in the state tournament. If they would have won 1 more game, you would have saw them on TV on ESPN2 in the regional of the World Series. So one thing we're excited about, what we talked about, is that was just a piece. Because for years we've had McDowell Parks and Rec, we've had Little League, and we've had travel ball in this county. But we've never, ever been able to get the best of the best under one umbrella. Well, one thing we've talked about doing is trying to get the schedules to where we play on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. That way the travel ball coaches, which I've already talked with in this county, would also participate in Little League. So at that point in time, we truly are getting all the kids in the county under one umbrella for the first time since probably the early 80s. So that's the biggest goal that we're looking forward to and wanting to see happen in our county.
Hey, with the team that Chad has assembled over there at the rec department, the structure is in place. I'll just say this, recreation opportunities are going to be wide open. And you know, when you think about a rec department, you know, you got your basketball, your baseball, but now you guys are going to be over a shooting range. You've got the trails that are full steam ahead. And so you've got a big operation now, Chad, you're running.
Yes, sir.
And you're doing it very efficiently.
Thanks, sir.
And you're giving a good product to the people out there. And also soccer's a big deal. And I look forward to more conversation in the future about soccer, the soccer program.
Yes, sir.
Old Chad's like a racehorse. You don't have to spur him. He gets out in front.
Hopefully I won't get winded, Mr. Chair. We'll keep pushing, but I certainly appreciate the board's support. So hopefully that answers your question, sir. I know specifically, so let me be clear. McDowell County Parks and Recreation, to my knowledge, has never required more than $40. But it is absolutely apparent that your dollar does not go as much as it used to, and that $40 is being stretched to its limits. And for us to run successful programs, it is my belief that we need to do everything we can to explore making sure, number one, that we're getting the most bang for taxpayers' buck. But it is my opinion that that number does need to go up, sir.
No problem. I just would be interested in knowing if there are families out there that cannot afford that, just for knowledge.
Yes, sir.
So we know.
I'd like to talk about that if I could. This year, there were a number of families who came and made it known and had historically gone to area directors throughout the county and made it known that they could not afford to let their child play. And my answer to you and the members of the board is that every one of those children still played this year. In 6 months that I've been there, not one child has been turned away because they couldn't afford to play.
Thank you.
And you know, you're talking about cost. $50 is very fair. I know I had a mother approach me prior to COVID and said their $2 were involved with the soccer program. And she said, I wish the county would be involved in soccer. She said, we pay $140 per kid for, maybe 8 games per kid.
I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good job. Good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I support the idea and support you and your staff 100%. And as the parent of 2 children in the program, my daughter's participating with the gymnastics. I don't even believe it was mentioned yet.
No, sir.
She's in gymnastics at the Parks and Rec, and my son participated in the flag football and also is participating in basketball. It's incredible going out and seeing the community coming back together at the gyms, at the fields, and just see the excitement back out in the community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You certainly have our endorsement.
Thank you, sir.
Is that it being a motion, Mr. Wooten?
Probably wouldn't hurt, and if you wanted to include in that to bring something back next month, we can do
Okay,
that.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the county moving, merging, affiliating with Little League, and bring back a document for the board to sign off on, just outlining the responsibilities of all parties involved.
Second that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Marsh. Next, under appointments, item E, the G5 project update, and we have the Executive Director of Camp Grier, Mr. Jason McDougald here, and we will turn the floor over to him.
All right, thanks for having us. We're grateful to be here to talk about trails again. And I'm going to let Lisa go first on behalf of the Forest Service because it's their land that we're working on. So, Lisa.
All right, thank you for having us. I did want to say we gave y'all some maps because everything's better when you're looking at it on a map. So just to orient you before we get started, there's basically 3 different maps in this folder. One's the whole project overview, and if you flip it over, it has a description of all the trails on it. The second one is a little closer up, and that's what Jason's going to talk about. That's being built first over on Curtis Creek. And then the third one is the parking area, which what we know is people can't enjoy the trails if they have nowhere to park. So all of these 3 are really important. We'll talk a little bit about them. If you have questions, we're here for that. But as we came and prepared for this, I was thinking about 2 years ago when Jason and I came and we were downtown and talked to y'all. And I remember saying the Forest Service is going to invest in McDowell County. And we had this map and we were, it was just a dream and an idea. And so in those 2 years, there have been about $2 million raised around this project. And there's about 42 miles of trails now that are getting ready to go in Old Fort over the next 5 to 10 years. So a huge amount of progress since the last time we talked to y'all. So it's really exciting to come back and update. A couple weeks ago, the Forest Service announced that they officially approved this trail project. So over those last 2 years, there's been a lot of fundraising and community development, but there's also been a lot of government processes, right? So we spent a good chunk of a year looking at the environmental impacts of this trail system on public lands. So we looked at, the plants, the wildlife, the trout in the creeks, and how this trail system was going to affect those. And what our decision meant is that there's not going to be a negative effect on the wildlife, on the land, on the rivers, and the Forest Service approved the entire trail system. 42 miles of trails, which is the first new trail system on the whole Pisgah National Forest ever. And we'll build that over 5 to 10 years because it takes a while to build trails, right? We have the land, but working on the resources to build it, but also just the capacity of that project management to make sure that everything's built right for all users, but make sure it's really accessible, but also really sustainable so that we're meeting those requirements of public land. So this decision approves trails all the way from the Blue Ridge Parkway at the north of Curtis Creek Valley down to just outside of town. So the new trails that are going to be built starting this year are just a short 2-mile drive from the center of Old Fort. You stay on pavement the whole way until you get to that new trailhead, which is pretty rare in our national forests. We have trails by Point Lookout Greenway, which is looking amazing, by the way. So Chad and McDowell County's done a great job maintaining that. We're going to add more trails in that area, add more trails connecting the backcountry to the town, and then a huge user-based system for new folks getting out on trails over in Curtis Creek. And this will be 6 miles of easy trails for horse, hike, bike. This is where you'll take your kids to learn to ride a bike, or I'll take myself to learn to ride a mountain bike better because that's my speed as well. But really rare in this area. People travel all over to get this type of easy trail experience. The other piece that's in this is Catawba Falls, and there's been a lot of progress on Catawba Falls, and a lot of this has been spurred on from some of these Old Fort efforts, which have really brought a national attention from the Forest Service side to the work we're doing in McDowell County. So $800,000 of that $2 million is going to go into Catawba Falls to help build access to the Upper Falls. And part of that is the grant from McDowell County that was like 5 years ago now. So, you know, I appreciate the patience of the county in working with us and seeing that vision. And we'll start building that this winter as well. So huge things going on in Old Fort, and I'll just kind of in closing say that, you know, we couldn't do anything on National Forest by ourselves. We do this all with collaboration. So with the county, which is a huge partner, working with Ashley and working with Chad and his team, but also with our partners in the community, and Jason with G5 and Camp Grier as our nonprofit partner, Levita in the back with people on the Move Old Fort as our community partner to make sure that we're hearing everybody's voices, and Stephanie as our economic development partner in Old Fort with Eagle Market Street Development Corporation to make sure that as these trails are developed, that we're doing it in a smart way that brings everybody in the town along with those opportunities. So it's really excited, and thank you for all y'all do to support trails in the county. I'll turn it over to Jason.
Yeah, so if you flip over to the second map, that is a zoomed in view of what we're getting ready to start to build. So like Lisa said, these are forest hike bike trails. So those are the designations. It's a little over 6 miles of what will be built. We'll start that construction in January, mid-January. We've got 2 trail contractors that will be working on those trails, so that'll speed up the progress quite a bit. So we hope to be done in early summer, I would say, with those 6 miles and have a ribbon cutting at that time. On January 15th, we will be having a groundbreaking ceremony, which everyone here will get an invitation to, as well as to the community. So we would love to have you all out to that. And yeah, so we're really excited. This is a big deal for Old Fort. It's a big deal for the forest, and we're grateful for the county support. And I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about the funding and how that kind of came together.
Commissioners, thank you. It's a pleasure to be before you and to be able to share Eagle Market Streets Development Corporation, a 501c3 community development corporation, has been an integral part of the trails and the outdoor activity that's happening in Old Fort. As a matter of fact, we recently purchased real property so that we could be more invested in the development of economics for Old Fort. But to tonight's discussion, to this point, as Lisa alluded, we've raised about $2 million. Of that $2 million, Eagle Market Streets and Camp Grier, under the Catawba Bell Collaborative, raised $1.8 million of that from the Dogwood Foundation, and it allowed them to start the first 6 miles of trails, as they mentioned, and for Eagle to actually have a physical presence in the town. We are very committed to what we call smart growth, which means that we don't want to build it and they come. We want to build it with community, and we feel that the county is a great support, and look forward to working with you all more around this as we continue to grow and build. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, so once we get those first 6 miles of trail built, we hope to be in a pretty continuous cycle of trail building for the next 5 to 10 years. We'd like to build 6 to 10 miles a year, and we're working with archaeology now to clear the next block. So, the funding for the construction is just one piece. Where the county's dollars come into play exceptionally well is in the maintenance. So that initial funding kind of helped us get started with the planning and design, and so as we move forward, having the county support on that maintenance end will be important. So we really appreciate everyone's support, and yeah, I'm happy to answer questions if you have them.
One question I've got, and I enjoy those trails myself. Stephanie, good to see you. We went to school together.
Mr. Chairman, she probably attended classes you did, right? We ought to clarify that for the record.
She and I were good friends in school and still are. Anyway, I appreciate what you guys are doing. One thing, a little caution, whenever you mix the bikes and the hikers together, I know I almost got killed by a biker up there one day on the trail. He was, I don't know how fast he can go. I know he was doing at least 30 miles an hour when I bailed off of the trail.
Yeah.
But has that become an issue yet, or do you suspect that it will?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we're thinking about. So a lot of that is addressed in the planning and design work. So all 42 of those miles of trail were planned and designed by the International Mountain Bike Association to minimize those user conflicts. So on the hike bike and the hike bike course trails, you're looking at things like sight lines and slowing riders down when they come to a trail intersection. So before they get there, having obstacles, or not obstacles, but having turns or things that just slow those riders down. So yeah, it's definitely something we're thinking about. And one of the things that makes this project unique is it's, like Lisa said, it's the first purpose-built system for this use. So everything that we have now was built for hiking, and it's being ridden by horses and bikes. So having this be purpose-built, designed for that type of recreation use will hopefully eliminate a lot of those user conflicts. The other thing that we're doing a little bit different, and the TDA has been really supportive in this, is to have a part-time ranger that works under the G5 that's out there in the field. So they're looking at things like user conflicts and where people are parking and that kind of thing. So we've been able to hire a part-time ranger position under our umbrella that will hopefully address some of that as well.
Mr. Chairman, the Pisgah National Forest is the most visited of all the national parks in America. See, we forget that. I mean, you think of the Grand Canyon or, some of these other national parks, but we've got the most visited one right here in our back door. And Old Forest, as already been stated, is going to take off. You'll be the trailhead of the East Coast, and probably, hopefully, more so than that. And I appreciate the vision. We just connect and partners what we do, but it takes people with a vision. And sometimes, we deal with a lot of things, but you guys got the vision, and we're just glad to partner when and where we can. And so hats off to what you're doing down there. And I'll just state this fact too for the record, that Steve Pierce, the president of the McDowell Trails Association, said this, that for every dollar spent on trails, the return's $1.72. So it'll be a good, healthy thing, but it's going to be an economic mover and driver too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's right. It's a great question. And thank you for your support.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can continue to keep us up to speed every few months, 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
On how things are going, just so that with updated maps or pictures or something like that. So
for sure, yeah.
And it is going to be very beneficial, because we are going to have to talk about it more and help sell it as far as, because I am aware of the bikes and hikers together. It can be stressful sometimes, so
yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
And a great presentation from the Forest Service.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Now move along into old business. We'll start off with item A, the American Rescue Plan. Mr. Wood, would you like to lead us off?
Yes, sir. This is one of those items that for at least the next 4 to 5 years we'll probably have on the agenda every month. One is a reminder where we stand financially, but also talk about projects that you have authorized previously. So what I did this month, I just have a very brief overview and a memo, and then the next 2 projects listed under old business we'll get more in detail with. We'll just mention quickly on American Rescue Plan, ARPA. I mentioned to you before that the U.S. Senate had passed a bill that would grant ARPA recipients like the county additional flexibility on how you could spend those funds outside the original legislation. That bill was, I believe, passed on a voice vote and went to the House about a month plus ago. There's been no action on that bill. There has been a House version introduced. I believe it's the same as the Senate version. There's been no action. There's been, I believe, some attempts to have it heard, but it's as of yet not moved. So don't know if that's because there's opposition or there's just a lot of other things going on. We'll talk about the second tranche, as the government likes to call allocations. The additional allocation is still scheduled to come this coming spring. We think probably late February, March, no later than April. And that again will be another approximately $4.4 million. Beyond that, we do have essentially a spreadsheet that you've seen before. There have been some slight adjustments as decisions or directions have been made. And so we'll just keep that in front of you every month as things do change. We'll note that you had authorized, I believe at the October meeting, some security enhancement, safety enhancement at the detention center. I think everyone from the sheriff's office left, but we are working with their staff to get that procurement done. Just we've advertised and have to do a re-advertisement, so there's nothing indicated there, but we're still working on that. Any questions about this or any other items to note there?
No, I think we're good. Do you have anything else on that? Would you like?
Not on ARPA.
Okay. Item B was our building projects update. Care to go ahead and lead us off on that?
Yes, sir. This is mostly just updates on capital activity. Just run through these very quickly. The administrative offices at 69 North Main are more or less on schedule. We originally had hoped to have the upper level completed by about a month from now, but it's looking like mid-February. The lower level is April or May at this point. The parking lot has been paved in the rear, and you'll notice a lot of exterior work is wrapping up as well. So it's looking really nice. We did not have enough opportunity to have all that done, to have Christmas decorations and those sorts of things. But we did promise the city that we will work on that for next year with their new effort. The Emergency Services Headquarters is also proceeding toward a late January, February opening. Most of the work is focused on the interior at this point. We do have delays with certain materials, even still related to the garage door equipment, and so we need those to be in place before we can open. So we're hopefully going to have all that installed over the next couple of weeks. You heard from Mr. Marsh earlier about the shooting range. I received an update today. It's more advanced than even what you have in your packet. The small office building is being framed in now. Sheathing is up, so that's good to see. A lot of the shooting structures themselves are more or less complete. They're working on the fine details now, preparing the entrance road, etc. A project you authorized quite a while ago was the Garden Street parking lot adjacent to the what's now the services building. I'd say it's about 75% complete. You'll notice there's a retaining wall that started work, and so we'll get that completed over the next several weeks. And maybe not of interest to the general public, or maybe even to the board, but a project staff has been working on for some time was a new gas canopy out beside the law enforcement center. We'll note that the prior structure was built by Mr. DePoyster and his predecessor about 25 years ago. So we definitely got our money's worth out of it, but it was time. So I know Sheriff Buchanan left, but I think he appreciates the new structure compared to what was there. So looks a lot better, and more importantly, it's a lot safer for storms and strange weather we seem to have these days. But that's all I have for building project.
Mr. Chairman, if at all possible, Mr. Wood, could you give the board an update? I know that we voted to have drawings done on the Maple Leaf.
Yes, sir.
Facility and that, and give the board update too about the meeting we had with Chad and
absolutely
those guys.
So we have met with the landscape architect Fred Blackley a number of times. You've, I believe, last month authorized expenditure of funds for a playground and picnic shelter at Maple Leaf. He has prepared a plan, and I think this picnic shelter didn't quite make the initial sketch, so he is revising that, and we had hoped to have it for tonight, but hopefully by January we'll have that before you for endorsement for any additional funds we might need beyond what's already been allocated. As far as the recreation center has been mentioned, the state budget that was passed several weeks ago appropriated $4.5 million for the improvements for the Marion Recreation Center is how it's referred to in the budget. You had talked previously about various improvements to the ball field, access, but what this could do is allow for a broader renovation improvement than maybe what was originally proposed. We had an initial meeting with the chair and vice chair with representatives from Holland and Hambrick, as well as Mr. Blackley and county staff, and they are going through prior drawings that we have. We have the original blueprints for that building. They're learning information about our pool, the grounds, the stormwater issues we have, getting all those details together, working towards getting some rough drawings going beyond what Mr. Blackley has already done. So there will be a lot of meetings, a lot of project development between now and ribbon cutting, and our job is to make sure that this board puts your stamp of approval on it as we go, and so that will definitely be process as it moves forward.
You know, our county has suffered as far as our recreation for many years because of the lack of money to do the things that we need, and so this has been a big boost, big shot in the arm for us, and we're just excited to get to spend money for the people here in the county to make our recreation department better.
Mr. Chairman, we might, and it's okay, I'd like to also recognize, when you talk about Dudley Green for his work on doing this, and Ralph Heiss, and the Speaker's office too. His office was instrumental, and both sides worked together to make sure that funding got there and stayed there through that process. So hats off to the powers above us that really did a great job making this happen.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, I don't have it on the agenda either, but I also mentioned sometimes we get working on projects and don't bring them back that often. But one item I will mention in regards to Old Fort with the recreation properties there. You talked, I believe in August, about obtaining those properties through donation from the town to the county, and I'm talking about the pool as well as the ball fields there on Catawba River Road. It took us quite a while. Everyone is so busy in the survey world and everywhere else, but we got a survey proposal. Surveyors are working to survey that property now. They've been working about 2 or 3 weeks on it. There's a lot there, of course, but should have preliminary maps for Mr. Coates and myself to look at within the next couple of weeks. And hopefully, once those are approved, deeds can be drawn up and that property can be transferred to the county, as been hoped for some time now.
Yeah, it's my intent as a commissioner, and I think the intent of all the board members here tonight, to see the Old Fort facility shine. It's part of this county, and it's a beautiful park, and it needs to be shining, and we will do everything we can to see that happens. Anything else on that one?
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda was the Stacy Hill Water project update. And let me say here, we are very conscious of the needs of water and, all the things that make up the groundwork for this county, such as water being one part of our infrastructure, the broadband, everything that is needed here in the county has been talked about with these commissioners, and everybody is on board in trying to strengthen our infrastructure here in the county in all areas. So it just takes so much to do the many things that we want to do, but let it be known that we do talk, and we are working on it, and our heads are all together and going in the same direction on these things. Go ahead, Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. And there's two items here for our water system. The first, sort of a late add, the Nebo Water System Expansion Project that you authorized at a prior meeting, I believe it was about 4 months ago. It took us quite a while as staff to go through the required procurement process for engineers. Several folks in this room took part in that as required by federal law for federal funding. And so we do have a recommendation for McGill Associates to do the design and bid work for the planned Nebo Water System expansion as shown in the map in your packet, and would ask for consideration on the contract they presented.
Are you seeking action on that tonight, Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the contract as presented.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. The Stacy Hill Road project, drove by yesterday, I believe. Their work has started there, and this is a very short connection, but very important to connect a line we built a couple of years ago on Stacy Hill Road project. We built as much as we could with the funds we had on hand, but with just not enough to connect back to 70 until now. So they are, I believe, under the creek, and are very soon going to make that crossing over to 70, and should be wrapped up within about 2 or 3 weeks and have that loop connected there. So a very important project, and again, made possible by the American Rescue Plan funds.
Okay, thank you for the report on that. Next on the agenda is item D, the Fonta Flora State Trail Project update. Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. Again, want to update you on where things stand. Another federally funded project, which means a lot of red tape and bureaucracy usually, and that's the case here. I believe it was July where staff was in this room hearing presentations from engineers to earn the county's business to design and bid the planned trail extension between US 70 and Resistiflex Road. McAdams, which is an engineering firm with offices in Charlotte and Raleigh, was selected as the most qualified firm. And since this summer, we have been working with NCDOT to develop a scope for the project within our budget. And we are finding out that we have more project than money. And so we're trying to make sure they match, preferably having a match with the money we have available. And so no action tonight. Our goal is to have a recommended engineer's contract next month for you, but I did want to give an update because some folks do wonder maybe where this went. So no action, but we will hopefully have a contract next month.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wood. Under new business tonight, there are administrative items under item A. Mr. Wood, would you lead over?
Yes, sir. There's about 7 or 8 items here. The first item is a request from the clerk of court requesting your approval for the annual payment of the jury commissioners.
Mr. Chair, make a motion we approve as presented.
Second.
Got a motion second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. The next, you have 2 leak adjustments for the Nebo water system.
Make a motion that we just approve all the administrative items that are presented right here.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve all. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Wheeler.
The next item is tax matters, and these are routine. If you ever have any question about them, just let us know.
Okay. Next on the agenda.
We do need approval on those.
Make a motion to accept it as presented.
So got the motion and a second to approve that as presented. All in favor, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to item C, 2022 meeting schedule approval.
Make a motion we approve the meeting schedule as presented for 2022.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, item D, board appointments. Madam Clerk.
You will see a list of the committees that the commissioners currently serve on. The Foothills RPO and McDowell Mission Board do need approval. McDowell Mission Board, Vice Chairman Walker has been serving on that, and his term is up, and they are asking for a replacement. He cannot serve, he has to be out for a year.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoy serving on that board, but I'll support, Chris said he had desire to be on that board, so I'll
Okay.
support for that.
What's the pleasure of the board then? As far as
Let Chris do it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Yep.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Allison be on that board, the mission board. Next one was,
We need someone for the Foothills Rural Planning
I
Organization.
think Ms. Bond was wanting to be on that one, wasn't she?
Make the motion she's on that then.
I second.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay. You mind being on it?
That's good.
Okay. All right, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is that all the board appointment?
There was one we left off JCPC. There's nothing we have to do, is there? Do we have to do anything to it? I'm on it, I don't mind staying.
Normally, a commissioner wants to give up a board or change or switch. So my understanding is if you've already got it and nobody else has a desire and you don't want to give it up, I'll make a motion to approve the list as presented. That way
Okay.
you're good.
We've got a motion to approve the list the way that it stands.
With the changes.
With the two changes we made tonight. What? We got a motion on that?
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it will stand. All right. Next item D, item E, the Marion Fire Department grant, Mr. Wooten.
Yes, sir. The recent agreement you signed with the City of Marion, interlocal agreement to govern the operations of the Marion Fire Department, require you to approve grants or expenditures. It's actually 2 things. Grants for capital expenditures or staffing expenditures, as well as local expenditures when those expenditures are over $3,000. So this instance, it's a grant, and it also has a local match of $9,672. The county fire tax portion would be $4,836. The city has asked for your approval of it. I did ask the city manager if he anticipated that the fire tax would cover the local share, the quote county share, and he did indicate that was his impression from typical growth.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the grant submission.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
As long as it's covered by the fire tax.
And I made sure to ask him, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Wood. takes care of that. Next item on the agenda is citizen comments. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak on citizen comment? They do. They need to sign in with Madam Clerk. All right, now that we're over citizen comment. We've got next on the agenda is the Commissioner staff and greetings. Were we going to do that before the closed session?
Might recommend it because a lot of times folks head out.
Okay. All right, next we'd have the closed session. So we'll go ahead and do the Christmas greetings and the story. And I think we'll let Commissioner Allison, if he will, read the Christmas story for us. And then after that, each commissioner can make a comment to the public. So if you're ready.
All right, Luke chapter 2. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, everyone into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you, ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord hath made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all they that heard it wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart.
Thank you very much, Chris. That was very good. I'd just like to say, and I will give each commissioner a chance to say something as far as Christmas greetings to everyone out there tonight. Those of you that are watching by satellite or sitting here tonight with us, we just certainly want to wish you the best that we could wish for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You know, McDowell County is such the people in McDowell County are so strong. We have went through perilous times with this COVID thing that has happened and attacked our nation and our county and our community. And we've all suffered loss. We've all seen friends and loved ones that have died or suffered from this in some form or another. But we are a community, and we are a county. We are a people that overcome. We are a people that are strong, and the inner strength that is shown by the employees that work for McDowell County, the citizens here in McDowell County, and in our community. It's unbelievable, the strength that is shown, and so in the never-ending perseverance that we show. And I just want to say tonight that I love this county. I love the people of this county, and I wish each and every one of you here tonight, and those of you that are watching, a very, very Merry Christmas, and of course a Happy New Year. Vice Chairman.
I do want to wish everyone who's watching tonight a very Merry Christmas from my family to yours. And as you celebrate this year, just remember, always remember that Christmas would not be celebrated if there hadn't been a birth over in a little town called Bethlehem in the land many years ago. And I want to say that I thank God that He sent His Son Jesus to be born in that stable and lowly, humble beginnings. And I do want to say I wish you a Merry Christmas, and it's an honor to be able to serve the people of McDowell County. I'll just state we've got the best people in the state that reside right here, that live right here, that work right here. And it's such a privilege to be able to partner with so many different groups. One thing about McDowell County is this, and we get it, we work together with whomever, the city, the town, different groups, the school system, the college, because we want the best for the people that live here. That's the only reason why we serve, is we want to do what we can do to make this a better place. So, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Well, it's hard to follow those two, however. You know, it's always said that a woman's always got words. I do wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a safe and happy Christmas with family. Remember a few safety features so we don't go through the same thing we did last year. My hat's off to all of our emergency workers for how they survived and persevered through everything last Christmas. They stayed on the job when they were losing their own in a way, in some manner, throughout the year. But just Merry Christmas, and remember what the reason for this season is. As Commissioner Walker said, without Christ, there would be no Christmas. So let's don't get in the Christmas spirit and forget Christ.
Okay.
From my family to yours, just want to thank you for everything that each of you bring to the county. Every person has something to add to this county, and we really appreciate it. And we just would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year.
Well, it's humbling. Being a commissioner for a year, it's been a lot more difficult, but the employees of the county, different reactive committees in the county, the manager, the clerk, all have been very helpful in getting acclimated in this position. And I do think you are right that we have superior employees in this county. I'm again humbled by the residents of this county in trusting us to make decisions for this county. And I'm nothing but honored. And I do want to say it is an honor to say Merry Christmas to all, and hope that everyone has a safe New Year and looking forward to 2022 and what it has to offer.
Thank you. Mr. Wood, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2021, excuse me, it's been a hard year. 2020 was very difficult for many of us. This year has been an improvement in many ways, and it's been a challenge in many ways. We've seen vaccines come to this community and do so much. We've also seen a lot of challenges with our staff that they face day in and day out, administering those vaccines in the cold and sometimes damp situations. A lot of the volunteers helping out, and a lot of teamwork as well. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. But at the end of the day, the job by our employees gets done. It's hard a lot, and it's not lost on me. I know it's not lost on the board for the folks like Adrienne and Will Keller and Andrew Presley and all the others, Sheriff Buchanan, his staff, that often go unnoticed and unnamed, but they work so hard for the people that they care about in this community, and that's what's important. Really just hope that everyone has a very Merry Christmas and a happy new year, and here's to, better days ahead. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, would you like to say something tonight? We'd like to give you that opportunity.
I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I'm really looking forward to 2022.
Thank you. Just in closing, topping off everything, this is a season of miracles. For the past 2 years, there's been a miracle performed at my house. I went through 2 years in a row during this season. I almost died. As a matter of fact, I did die. Adrienne, you can vouch for that. I did die several times, but through the mercy of my Lord and Savior, I'm here tonight. So I just want to give him the praise for that tonight. And again, we as a board want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Thank you. Next item is a closed session, so you guys, if you want to leave and don't come back, I don't blame you at all, but it will be a closed session meeting for just a few minutes, and then we will adjourn. Those that would like to come back.
Would you like to make a motion to go into closed session?
Yes. Well, I think I declared it, don't you?
No, we have to have a motion.
Okay. All right. Have a motion and a
That is a
second.
motion.
And I'll note, and there was a second.
Yes.
Yes.
It's for economic development and a personnel matter separate.
The closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A 4 and 6. Okay. Motion and the second made. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We are in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to go out of closed session.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're out of closed session. Do I hear a motion that
Mr. Chairman, we got one item. We normally have reports of communications at the bottom, and this would fall under that. And this is about positive press releases on programs that are occurring that the county offers and/or projects. Chris, go ahead and elaborate on what you got in mind.
Yes, I've talked with a couple of commissioners, and I would like to see a press release once a week. Just let the community know what's going on. There's great things going on with the Parks and Rec Department and other departments within the county. And I'd like to make a motion for staff to do one press release a week. I know you do the weekly updates. A lot of good information in the weekly updates, so we can do kind of incorporate that with the press release.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to make that a motion.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any discussion on that?
Like it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There's you some more work, Mr. Wood. We appreciate it.
All right, that's why we're here.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.